This is our second Mass today, our second Vigil Mass. At 6 p.m. we had a different congregation. It was full of people, not only one space left empty, with children, lot of children, young families, young people. This is the smallest and quiet congregation, but you are the brave people of midnight Mass. You want to spend the first day, the first second, the first minutes of the 25th of December in prayer. You are the bravest, the brave people of the midnight Mass. Once I heard Cardinal Sean Patrick O'Malley from Boston, but now he is the prefect of the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith in the Vatican. But while he was Archbishop of Boston, Cardinal Archbishop in the United States, I heard him telling this in his archdiocese. From Irish background, he said, one of the oldest Irish Christian Christmas customs has been to put a candle in the window on Christmas Eve. Have you ever done that? Or are you from Irish background? Is anyone here from Irish background? Yes, 1, 2, 3. Wave your hand, those who come from Irish background. Yes, Geraldine, you are not. Yes, you are. Most of you, many of you, come from Irish background. Have you ever done this? Light a candle on Christmas Eve and put on the window? Yes? Yes, of course you've done. Do you know how you do that? You know why you do that? Do you? Well, what Cardinal O'Malley told his people was that the purpose of the candle was to let Mary and Joseph know that they would be very welcome in that home. And during the time of persecution, during the penal time, said the Cardinal, it was a sign that a priest who was in hiding could come and celebrate the Mass in that house. Obviously, clandestinely, that the priest was welcome as well. And part of the custom, said Cardinal O'Malley, is that the youngest child in the family lights the candle and some member of the family by the name of Mary has to be the one to extinguish it. And now there is not a problem, because in most Irish families there's no shortage of women named Mary. You can find Mary Louise, Mary Helen, Mary Elizabeth, Mary Ann, so many Marys in an Irish family. So there was always a Mary around to extinguish the candle on Christmas. Today we want to imitate the Irish by putting a candle in our windows. There are different ways to do it. To remove the no vacancy sign and put a candle to welcome 100,000 welcome to our God. Today we want to welcome Jesus in our home. A few years ago, in one of the parishes, not in this country, they were planning a Christmas pageant, and the children in the religious education program were the participants in the pageant. A nativity scene, not with the statues, but with people acting out, performing of Mary, Joseph, the shepherd, the innkeepers, where there was a young lad named Billy who had Down syndrome, who was asked to be the innkeeper. And Billy practiced his lines for weeks and weeks. There's only one phrase, a few words for Billy to practice, because he was the innkeeper in that live nativity scene. And the line that Billy had to practice is, "There is no room in the inn. There is no room in the inn." So Billy spent weeks and weeks walking in the house, walking to school, walking everywhere, repeating to himself, "There is no room in the inn. There is no room in the inn. There's no room in the inn." For weeks. In the night of the pageant, Billy arrived in the parish auditorium and saw that it was packed with people, and the play begins. Mary and Joseph walking to the door, knocking every door, and Billy shouts out, "There's no room in the inn." And Mary and Joseph walked sadly away, and suddenly, all of a sudden, Billy, overcome with regret, shouts out, "But you guys can stay at my home." That was Billy. He couldn't cope. He couldn't cope to the fact there was no room for Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Even though he practiced his line for so many weeks. That couldn't end that way. And Mary and Joseph walked to Billy's house. Today's gospel contains the almost casual remark that there was no room for the Holy Family in the inn. And inevitably the question arises, what would happen if Mary and Joseph were to knock at my door tonight? Would there be room for them? And then it occurs to us that St. John, in his fourth Gospel, takes up this very chance comment about the lack of room in the inn. But St. John said that in a different way. He came to his own, and his own received him not. That was the statement in the fourth Gospel. He came to his own, and his own received him not. And the great moral question of our attitudes toward those who are in need today, like the Holy Family 2,000 years ago. And the moral question today is there room for the homeless? What is our attitude towards the refugees, towards migrants? And today, in this migrant worldwide migrant crisis takes on an even deeper dimension here. There is no room in the inn. Do we really have room for God when He seeks to enter under our roof? Disguised as a poor, as a needy, as a refugee, as a homeless. Do we have time and space for Him? Do we actually turn God away? The faster we can move nowadays with technology, and the more efficient our time-saving appliances become, the less time we seem to have. We are now busier than ever. The question sometimes seems less urgent. Our time is already completed for. But at Christmas time, we are reminded that God keeps knocking at our door. He keeps knocking. And like Billy, we need to invite God into our hearts, into our homes. Then Christmas becomes real, when we begin to make time and space for God in our lives. Once, Steven Spielberg was being interviewed on a TV program called Inside the Actors' Stadium, and the interviewer asked him a very surprising question. Steven, what would you hope that God will say to you when you finally meet Him at the end of your life? And Spielberg, far from all within, smiled and he replied, I hope God would say to me, thank you for listening. What a great answer. It's certainly true about the Christian story. Everybody has heard it. But how many are really listening? That's the question. At the Annunciation, Mary hears the announcement, and she is listening, because she answered, be done to me according to your word. And in today's Gospel, those shepherds who are walking in darkness, they see the light and they are listening. When the angel announced the great news of great joy, they were listening. And 2,000 years later, we confront this stunning message of Christmas, giving us comfort and joy. God is with us. He has come into our lives. Are we listening? The people who have walked in darkness have seen a great light. This is the good news. The world has been waiting for. Are we paying attention? Are we listening? The shepherds not only listened, they also shared with others the great news. What they had seen and what they have heard, they shared with others. They became messengers of joy. We can say to them, thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing. Those of you who have children, I said in the earlier Mass at 6 p.m., all the families with children who packed the church, I said to them, I urge you to take them to the crib, show them Bethlehem, talk to them about the Christmas story. It's our story. It's the story of love in the world and in our lives. And out of that love story comes discipleship. Pope Francis and his spectacular message on the joy of the gospel talks about the true faith in Christ's incarnation. Pope Francis says, faith in the Christmas mystery is inseparable from self-giving, from membership in the community, from service and from reconciliation. This is the great lesson of Christmas. Christmas needs to be communicated. We need to be messengers of joy in a world darkened, in a world that walks in a great night. This is the glad tidings that touches our hearts and transforms our life. True faith and Christmas are inseparable from self-giving, from membership in the community, from service and from reconciliation. What a great Christmas message for all of us. And thanks for listening.